a couple of decades, a little more, real level economics. And so I'm practicing and learning and, going through all the miners' capabilities and what it can and cannot do. So around 2017, 18, I had an idea that, when the big company's patent is expiring, I was like, hey, there's a lot of things that I wished for, so, why not see if there's something I can do about it? So my other co-founder, he is a software engineer, and he was also on vacations, and so together we founded Sense. And since then we've created a platform for not only two tools, but onboarding patients, analytics for all the data of the hard tissue, soft tissue, and whatnot. And we have tools for suggesting for diagnosis of treatment planning, as well as tooth movement, and the training platform. So it's been a journey, as Elon Musk said. If you're not waking up every day throwing up and thinking you're going to make bankrupt the next day, you're not doing a startup. So that's been my life. It's been amazingly challenging, but also inspiring.
Every time I enter this kind of conference, I always wonder what the hell I need a dentist. I came to the States from China in 88, right? The first project I joined the same university as one show contact with the neural network, which is called AI at that time. Unfortunately, what I would really talk about is the AI at that time is in the defense aerospace industry, and they were all started that way. And I'm from a communist country, as people cannot go to JPL. So I said, okay, get my master's, get out and do something else. So I would go work for, actually not close to the defense, but close enough, called the software for NASA. NASA is the stress force analysis CAD system for NASA, buildings, power engines, all that. It needs to be modeled, analyzed, make sure the material, heat transfer, everything is efficient. And after working for 2 years, I was going to Hollywood in making movies. So I made quite a bit of movie, and two of them actually got Oscar nominations. One is Studio, the other one is Starship Troopers, but they are not got Oscar. I was pissed off because I think our technology is pretty good, but it's a damn good movie come out. It's called Titanic, and it got an Oscar. Without their special effects, it sucks. Well, the award is given by the Academy, the actors, actresses, and not artists like me. So I was, that one is a failure for me. And after that, my wife got her PhD, and she went north from Hollywood to Genentech. So I said, okay, I'll north with you as well. And ended up, I got offer from DreamWorks and asked me to work on Shrek. Cool, that's a Steven Spielberg movie, and we gonna win Oscar one day. And I got the offer, and then my friend called me and said, hey, can you give me a reference? For what? A dental company. And I said, okay, I'll give you a reference. A CEO called Yashi, and he said, where are you? I said, I'm here. I said, what are you doing? I said, I'm switching jobs. I'm going from Southern California to Northern California, and I want to work for the movie. We work on the movie, so sure. That contract was hot. And said, I'm working on this amazing company using CAD/CAM technology and 3D. I said, you are full of shit. I said, everybody, I say I'm working for Hollywood, eyes open. I say, somebody say, work on teeth, right? So after 3 talks, he said, you already accept the offer. All I want you to do is work for this company for 1 week. Here's the big challenge. If you like it, you stay. If you don't like it, continue working with business. That's the accident, what I have in the working in the dental industry. Eventually I get the CTO of electric technology, but I find out that actually at that time the dental is a green light. Nobody doing anything very digitally. I think we can move all the movie kind of technology and telecom into the dental space. So when we first built CleanCheck, we said let's create a clip, and people call CleanCheck as a movie for dental, and all this concept of collision, particle system, all that is from movie industry. So I feel good that I was in the field and improved the digital industry, digital dental industry, right? And now, I don't want the words to talk about what I have done after that, but why you left? One of the things that I think that what the dentistry is not doing well is they are not using AI, but they are using AD. What means AD? Army of gamers. They actually send all the treatment to clinicians remotely, thousands of them, to treat like doctors. That is what Neil told us many times. It's just more like I'm teaching my teenage girl how to write and know my language very well, right? So I think we need to build AI systems to assist the doctor to treat patients better. That's how you have come, and I'm glad that LuxCreo, Graphy, all these companies and work together and trying to move the industry from centralized, remote kind of manufacturing side to be a chair side, and doctor can fiddle and give the best treatment to the patient. Thank you.
Thanks. My name is Aaron Feynman. I'm the Director of Special Markets in North America for dental monitoring. I'm an imposter here. I went to a state school, got a marketing degree, was a bartender, so no health tech, I'm a doctor. But I've been in dental for 15 years, studying industry, and happy to be here. For those of you who aren't familiar, dental monitoring is a remote monitoring platform for providers to be able to track, manage, triage their patients' oral health, their treatment. We use AI technology that helps with image processing and smartphones to provide insights to the doctors throughout the treatment. Essentially what we say is we align the need for care, or we synchronize the need for care with the delivery of care. So we want to make sure that we're making sure that offices are efficient, operational, and they provide the greatest patient experience.
I might have to share this one. So I want to set a stage for the future. We're here right now. We're doing integrations to make life easier for all you doctors. But I'm going to talk about a vision, and we can talk about how practical it is. You can shoot it down. You can do. I'd love the audience to participate in this as well. So this is what could be the audacious vision for clear aligners therapy. And so one way for us to think about it is, and we know there are some limits, but I caveat it because I've learned something over the last couple months or years. But we want to see no attachments. We want to see no refinements. We want to see one visit, 5 minutes, scan, and you leave with your aligners. We want to see that you only come back when you're done, so that you're monitored at every step of the way. So we want to see that level of convenience. When you have that level of convenience, then you can make it more accessible to all patients globally. So if thinking of that as an extreme vision, I think, especially for most people's paradigm today, I'd love for you to reflect, refute, and see if how we can have like a collective vision, not just on the panel, but also in the group. So we'll start here, and then we'll work into the Q&A. But let's use that as the framework for the next discussion.
That's a big one. So, as I mentioned, I started thinking about creating something for my reviews, and I had a patient who's a genius in the 3D painting world, actually. He's a programmer, he's a director at Amazon. He is the CTO, the CEO of my company. So we founded the company together. So I'm the president, chairman, he's the CEO. We're kind of 50-50, more or less, creatively. So I shared with him, my vision. He shared with him his, because he was a patient of mine. And together, my wife's an orthodontist, my best friend's an orthodontist, everybody around me is an orthodontist. I mean, I did research at Harvard. I was there for 10 years. I think my dental school residency, dentist degree and all that. So it's very evidence-based, very educational institutionally based. That's how my thought is. So I wanted to create something that's not just too cool. I wanted to create something that is, not just records onboarding and analysis, but something that created everything all together. So the way I see it is, with AI now, and AI 6 months from now, it's going to be who knows what. And then 3 months after that, it's probably going to double the capability. And then another month and a half, and another 3 weeks. So, as Jeff Bezos says, every day is day one. And so I thought that was a great challenge. And with the capabilities that we had, 4 years ago and then now till today. My vision is to create something that is AI-based, but also HI managed. So human intelligence, right? AI is only as capable as the creator of that AI. And as a practitioner, as a doctor, we always have to remember that. I'm on the task force currently to create the guidelines, the white paper for AAO's, AI interpretation and how to use it. And my section is how to use AI and how it will not, replace doctors. So that's the section I'll be, writing on. So altogether, I'm going to say the vision is something like, if you think of the past, AI could be maybe a 60-40, 60% AI, 40% doctor perhaps, and then 70-30, 80-20, perhaps one day is 90-10. But we always got to remember that, as a practitioner, we ultimately are in control and we decide. It comes with patient compliance, different cases, with the vision, as you mentioned, the diagnostic part, it has to do with quality of the data. So the vision of what we're trying to do is create a platform where a completeness of data is collected from the beginning of the treatment to the end of the treatment, and hopefully post-treatment. Because only with quality data, right, with good data points, can machine learning occur. So if you have mumbo jumbo, you get mumbo jumbo. So, with all that said, my hope and my vision with the help of AI is to create, this type of ecosystem, where a lot of the educators, a lot of the future clinicians, and even companies can come together and work on that. Create a common ground so that we can have something to rely on in developing solutions, with each other, separately, whatnot. So that's what I see, and I think at some point, when we get to that, orthodontics will be transformed to the point where you have just mentioned, where the patients are going to be the ultimate beneficiary. Also, because the doctors will have less time to spend needed, to treat the patients, affordability, accessibility as in through 3D printing technology, to places that don't have orthodontic treatment, or dental treatment. Like my company's called Titan Dental Design. It's not called Titan Orthodontic Solutions, and there's a reason for that. because you kind of have a big vision, you know. So, but as an orthodontist, this is where I start. This is what I've been doing all along, and yeah, I look forward to working with the few universities, and I'm already going to be traveling and getting some of the projects started. Thank you.
I think the future of ophthalmic industry is following the other industry, and 3D printing actually following 2D printing. 40 years ago, when I want to print something, I have to centralize the IBM mainframe to log in my time and print one sheet of paper. And 20 years ago, I can go to Kinko's and print it. Today, I just press a button on my desk, I can print it. And dental is the same thing. And now we are moving from centralized IBM model to clinic side. Maybe later on, I can press my mobile and get my alignment treatment in my clinic. And that's one. And the second one, I think I always talk to people that doctor, they are either busy and they are all lazy. Okay. They learn quite a bit of knowledge, and we experience with many patients. They see the patient, they breathe with the patient, they know what is best for the patient. To put a system, we actually make them a U-box 9 years ago on the clinic that doctor can manipulate using e-design software and create device on the chair side so they can fit on the patient right away, and they can put a lot of magic there. That's the vision of the future from my perspective.
Yeah, addressing what Mike talked about, the ultimate goal, right? Or one ultimate goal could be this scenario. You came up with 3D printed liners, give them to your patients, don't see each other. We were discussing getting ready for this. I said, I'm a aerospace, I forget your background, something beyond, your forces, right? Forces are linked. And you have discussions with orthodontists, and you guys would tell them, no, you can't do that. And it kind of, the light bulb went on my head, and I said, we need to get rid of the word can't anymore. No, I couldn't do that, right? I couldn't 3D print my old tray liners and give them to my patient before LuxCreo. I couldn't make sure that they're wearing their liners on a weekly basis and triage any problems that happen and accommodate their time just as much as my time until something like the monitoring came to place. I couldn't customize treatment until you, right? So we need to replace the word can't with couldn't. And now we also need to think about, at the end of the day, I attend a lot of these shows that go to part of social market side, involved with some of this large group dentistry, and it's all about finance and reduce costs, and it's a business. We're joking, never hear anything about a patient. There's no big, huge booth that says, put your patient first. It's RCM, reduce under costs, whatever it is. And by using the term couldn't, but I can now, you're essentially putting the patient first, which I think is extremely important. It seems like that these two guys are doing. I think it goes into the point with the product you guys are developing, even down to material science. It's patient first, right? We want to give them the absolutely best product that they deserve, put it in their mouth, get the greatest outcome. So I think it's really important. We'd love to start digging into the data portion of it, got really excited about that. And I forgot to say, we're Dr. Giordano. I'm from Iowa. Yes, a lot of things weird happen there, but not nearly as much as Florida. So you got to give us a little credit.
Screening, guided gratitude, but we get to do that if we achieve the 3 Ps, which is patient results, patient service, and patient experience, right? So, I was always told by my mom, it's not what you say, it's not what you do, it's how you make someone feel. All these things are kind of the fundamentals of how I live, and how I went through my education, development, and whatnot. So, as we all know, we have a lot of solutions, in software for design, substitute movement. And there's not just us, there's other companies out there that have very capable software as well. but compliance. I will do anything for my patients, to just wear their aligner, 20 hours or more, and so that they will actually have some results, most of the results. It's like selling a sailboat, you always have to navigate, and you always have to tack, and then you always have to adjust, and that's why with direct printing and with the software that we're developing, you can almost, create and recreate the treatment, adjust the treatment as you go. And I think that's one of the most beautiful part of this technology. And the other part about it is, as I can't remember, one of you guys was mentioning it, and I did too. 2022 Chicago AAO. That's when I met you guys. And I was like, here's a booth, it's in the back. And they have the most incredible technology in the world. From my point of view, and I consider myself not too dumb, because I take apart everything. I use 20 different printers, ever since 2017. And I was like, this is incredible. I really thought this is not going to, occur for another 3 to 5 years or longer. So as I dug into it even more, I realized it's not just here, it is real, it is reliable, and that really changed how I developed my company as well, And so altogether, I feel like LuxCreo has one of the key puzzles, that really made everything we're talking about today a reality. The printer itself, just like all the materials. Like, why is it that all the material companies are here? Because the printer can deliver. It can deliver reliably. And as I mentioned, it's just day one. Imagine what everything's going to be like tomorrow or the next day. So I'm like super excited and very blessed and grateful to partner up with you guys.
Yeah, one second, I wanted to give Charlie a chance to you want to say something about the lab. Remember we were talking, you wanted to say something about the lab. So that I'll give you that opportunity. But before I do that, I just want to say that we are integrated partners, right? And then we have the ecosystem integrated partners with the materials companies that you just saw before. Something to think about when you're buying a device like a printer. It's up to you to cobble it all together, and then if you don't know which, if it's not working, you know who to point at. Because you got that from there, that from there, that from there, and you say this doesn't work. You try to point to somebody, but who do you point at? Everyone points the finger at us because there's only one place to point it. Because we own the SOP, we own the equipment. Any partner that we partner with and integrate with, if there's an issue, it's our fault, right? So we have, for us to sleep at night, we have to have great partners in a common focus and a common vision enough to make sure that everyone is successful now and in the future. So I'll hand it to you, and you can talk about that, but also talk about ULab.
ULab has go through some changes. Okay, at the very beginning, we have the vision that we are a software platform company, and for the last 5 years, we fill out the other side of mountain screener, and because aligner sells billions of dollars, let's make aligners. So we switched to be an aligner company, and actually, to be honest, if we are another aligner company like Spark, Angel Align, or Invisalign, we're gonna fail because they already built the entire system for traditional thermoforming and industry very well. So we are changing gears. We are trying to go back to our root to be a platform company. We will build the tools for the orthodontic only. Sometimes it could be clear aligner, sometimes it can be braces, a bracket, and we are trying to put the orthodontic into our ULab platform. So when they use bracket, we can use our IDD system. When they use aligner, they can use our aligner system as well. When they have Neo's Magic to do class 2 correction, we build into that as well.
Are you bringing the IDD back? I thought you made it go away.
Yeah, we launched it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so if they want to change, I think the orthodontists, they are very good at using tools. If many of our doctors, they use the bracket first and then transition to aligners because, you know, aligner is very, very good to do the fine, precise movement and resist, get the gross movement done. And ULab facilitates that as well. So we want to be a platform company. And currently, we are doing well, and we hopefully one day we can partner closely with a company like LuxCreo and build the box and eventually put on every dentist desk to make the desktop chairs printing into a reality. Thank you.
Yeah, I think thank you. That's great, and I want to open it up for questions, and especially I'd love to get your view on having the value of deep integration, where we're all so aligned that you know exactly who to blame, because it's important, because you want to stay up and running, and if you don't have anyone to go to, or it's not a known configuration, it's a desperate moment. Right? I don't know how many people have felt that desperate moment. Right? Show of hands. Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Right. Okay. So why don't we open it up for? Unless you have something to say before. You good? Okay. Let's open it up for Q&A. Go ahead.
I have a question for you. We had multiple clinics, and I might feel representative. Right now we're using ULab. So one of the questions that I have and we were asked is about the website. You have that interface where we can utilize it for the patient, instead of having the patient to come and approve the case, where we can just have it online, and they be able to go and approve the case through your website, since you're providing the design or providing the services for the aligners. When is that going to be launched on your platform? The second question comes in.
I can tell you right now, November 1st.
November 1st? Couple of 4 weeks. Okay, good. That's one. That's an important question. Yeah, the second one, the representative, I think, from LuxCreo.
To raise the volume.
You can always speak up. Yeah, I can speak up. Yeah, the question is, LuxCreo has a software.
Yeah,
And we have a software.
Yeah.
How do we Yes, I think we in this space we have to play what is our strength, right? I think we are good at doing the treatment part of software, but not doing the printer side of software. So we are talking with Swiss and all the other LuxCreo so that we have a treatment software, and then we have the token sent to them. They can pick it up and do the supporting all the other magic with the system and have a one-touch printing to get it done. So we are planning tomorrow, so I don't know what's the date.
It's happening right now, but it's not available to you yet. We don't have a date for you.
Okay.
But it's
in the future, near future.
yes,
Very near future.
internally it'll be done Friday. Internally.
It's supposed to be done 3
You heard it
years.
here, but it won't be out. It has to go through a process. That's a process.
Okay, but eventually it's going to be allowed for us to use.
That's why we have.
Correct.
Correct. Yes.
What's the question?
The goal is we want.
The question was, are we integrating with ULab? And I mean, that's the software ecosystem panel. Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah. we want seamlessly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
we want
question?
seamlessly transition from the design to print. Just like what you do, use your 2D printer, you open up the Word and you say print, and then
Like the,
why? Yeah.
exactly.
do all that,
So it's like if you look at, there's some Libel customers here. They have fast design for splint design, and it just 3 minutes. You get a splint. You press the print button, and it prints.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're heading that way.
Is there gonna be difference for licensure?
What's that?
Is there gonna be like updated licensure for that piece? License, for example, I have a blue license, limited license.
Okay.
That one,
We are working that out.
we are working on one.
We are working that out. There is not an answer today. We can tell you. We are working that out.
Okay, all we
You'll be
are
happy.
trying to do right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll trust you on that.
Yeah,
You'll be happy.
all we want to try to do right now is make sure that the treatment is printing Fisher Price easy. That's all we're doing. But how to charge it, it's a different animal. Oh, you can't see. We'll figure it out.
We are working that out.
Frankly, we were gonna go with 3K, and so we were told you guys are gonna integrate. That's why we went to ULAC, that's why we wanted to go with 3K, because
Yeah.
it's gonna integrate this. They're helping
Yes.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. We will update you once we have. Yeah. Great.
You're gonna let us know to your material partners? That's a really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you guys will know before the market.
I have a question for Mark. For Mark, is your software, we know Michael was wearing his aligners in his pocket. Okay. Will your software tell us that he's in compliance?
I didn't want the list.
Will, is that, your software determines if the patient is wearing and is compliant? Is that what I'm hearing?
Short answer, yes. So how we work quick, we recommend a patient scans their mouth once a week. That scan goes to our neural network. Our AI identifies 137 different clinical triggers. If you as a clinician decide that unseats or slight unseats or broken aligners or 130 other things are important to you, we will let you know if it's been identified. So, in this case, if Mike is not wearing his aligner, and it's not seated properly, we will tell you on a weekly basis, yes. You can then, from there, triage. You can decide, all right, do I need to bring him in, scold him in person? Do I send him a nice little note, circle a picture and say, use your chewies here? You can rely on the artificial intelligence to tell Mike to stay in his aligners an additional 3 days. We can give him a nasty gram, we can give him a nice gram. It depends on what protocol we call it, or essentially our prescription that you decide.
Maybe you can say rejuvenate.
Yeah, so how it actually will work is, hey Mike, Dr. Warshawski took a look at your scans. It doesn't seem like your teeth are moving at the pace we would like. We recommend you stay in your aligners for 3 more days. Please remember to wear your aligners 22 hours a day, take them out when you're eating. Also, hygiene is very important to get it straight ortho, so please remember to brush your teeth morning, after meals, and night. He's looking forward to seeing your next scan, and at that time, he will tell you if it's time to move on to your next one.
No,
That message was not generated by anyone on Dr. Warshawski's staff. The message was generated by the artificial intelligence.
how's the scan taken? By the phone or with?
Yes, it is an app on your smartphone.
Perfect.
Yep.
Compliance is the biggest single issue that makes nothing more problem.
There's a phenomenon called the Hawthorne effect. Is anyone familiar? It states that if you know you're being watched, you behave differently. We utilize the Hawthorne effect by saying Dr. Warshawski is going to look at your scans every week and then let you know if it's time to move on to your next aligner. Guess what? You don't get to decide if you move on to your next aligner anymore. In the past, we used to say, here's 20 aligners, change every 7 days. Now we say, here's 20 aligners, scan every 7 days. We'll let you know if things are going the way we like them to, and tell you to move on. So now compliance is not at the patient level, compliance is at the doctor level. They're watching, they're telling you. Yes.
Perfect, that's very nice.
So there is just another, if I 30 more seconds, there's a very real possibility batch printing, right? So say you decide, all right, I'm going to treatment plan for the first 10 trays. And I think I may need some IPR probably before tray 11. Let's print the 10 trays. Let's watch them. Let's figure out if we're moving on time. Let's not decide to do IPR after 10 trays. Let's not decide to do IPR at 10 weeks. Let's decide to do IPR after 10 trays. 10 trays doesn't mean 10 weeks anymore. 10 trays may be 12 weeks. We have a system called adaptive scan interval. If you turn it on, 10 trays could be 8 weeks because AI can identify if your teeth are moving at a bit faster pace, if your anatomy accepts that movement faster than what you originally prescribed. We may speed up your movement. We may say, hey, it's time to move every 6 days now, or every 5 days. We have some offices that are down to 4 days. We just got a phone call from our office. They said, we are moving our kit. We have 450 patients that are averaging a 4-day aligner change because they're extremely compliant. So they had to totally rework their schedule and their workflow, but they're here for it because it opens up their treatment time, it opens up their schedule, makes the cases extremely profitable. And what I said before, patient experience is through the roof.
Another question. So you said it's with your smartphone camera. I'm interested in tech. Can you explain how that works?
No. I'm the sales guy.
Wrong guy.
Yeah, I can explain that. It is a micron level view of the tooth. Man, I wish I could show you. Yeah, that starts to get above my pay grade. There's research. UIC has been a partner of ours for a long time. We are within the tolerances of an intraoral scan. In fact, we haven't even mentioned yet, the reason this partnership works very well is because our scans can create an STL file. So the scans you take on a weekly basis with your phone, in conjunction with an original intraoral scan, we can provide an STL file that then can be used to create, with treatment planning software, the next phase of treatment, and then sent to the 3D printer to print the next phase of aligners. Think about retainers. We don't have to come send them anymore. Just say, hey, quick, take another scan. We'll have it printed up. You just come to the front desk and grab your aligner. No sitting in the back. It's called Smart STL. Yes, the terminal. That's what we're using. Yeah. I'm working on it. We can get some engineers in front of you.
Yeah,
Another question?
Maybe Charlie. Yeah, actually, maybe
Yeah,
Charlie
yeah,
can
yeah.
explain a little bit.
that if human can do it, AI can learn. Right? So if you tell a 3-year-old kid and say this is a cell phone, you give his cell phone and he can tell, and AI can use this data and to learn from their complex network to figure out why you determine this is a cell phone. Same thing as when you're a doctor, you see a patient is, oh, tooth move. Same thing. You have that picture, you give to the AI, you tell the AI, say, this is the picture that the tooth moved. And you train them many, many times, do all that.
Michael, are you listening to all this?
Let's kind of dumb it down. You know when you go to a website and it asks you identify the cars in this picture, you're training it at that point. That's called smart capture. That's how we initially started. We have 2 billion images we process, and when it comes to AI data wins, and we're winning in the data space. So everyone's very intelligent. Keep commenting.
Smaller follow-up question. Just because part of this is also accessibility, how does it handle maybe users who don't have like different quality of cameras on their smartphones? How does it handle that?
There are minimum operating system requirements.
Yeah.
We actually struggle to keep up, right? We're thankful that the iPhone 16 camera wasn't a huge change from the 15. But we have different adapters. We have a scan box that holds the phone, and it gives a consistent focal depth. So there are ways to make sure. But again, yeah, it is smartphone based.
So we'll have one more question, then we gotta wrap it up. Well, there's 2 questions. Okay, let's do 2. So go ahead.
Go for it.
My question about the treatment plan that's currently done based on data from thermoplastic material, Now you have different material, you have different thickness.
Yes.
Do we anticipate that the treatment plan based on different thickness or different, based on the current, Creo material will change?
I know Charlie can answer this, but I'm not going to answer. I'll just tell you what our view is on it, and then I'll hand it over to Charlie. 2024 is data gathering on multi-thickness movements.
Oh.
Because you can't just extrapolate. You do displacement-based movements or force-based movements, but we're gathering data. But we're using thermoforming treatment plan, and we're tracking them. The opportunity is to have an informed treatment plan based on multi-thickness data. So we're headed that direction.
The short answer is yes, they will be different, right? And even the thermoplastic, they are different as well. We actually, in the last few years, we studied all the thermoplastic, different brands, and we released the Riva that has a much longer and force retention than anything else in the market. And we design our treatment that way. So it's not 3D printed, it's different. And all thermoplastics, they behave quite different. And if you draw the chart, just some of the claim is just not right. But I can tell you right now.
I'll give you one other thing on this. You think a model is a model is a model, right? A dental model, and then you thermoform over it. Some people have tall bases, some have short bases. So the stretch is dependent on the height. So even if you know the material, bulk property, thermoform, if you're processing it on a digital model that is minimizing the amount of material, so to minimize the height and the time and all that, you're gonna have thicker. It'll be thicker. And it's going to perform differently. So there's a massive amount of variation in thermoform. We have a master's student who did this, I think it's a year or two ago. And we put a voxel exactly where it needs to be. Like where it's designed to go, we put the voxel there. A voxel is a 3-dimensional pixel. It goes exactly where it is. Whereas the stretching process, you don't know what you're going to do. And then there's spring back, there's all kinds of things that you don't do. That's why we're twice the accuracy of thermoform.
Yeah, it's not only that, it's also the attachment size, whether you need to put an attachment, movements.
And it's by integration.
Was the attachment exactly like the digital representation of the attachment when you put the glue in it? It never happens, right?
I would like to add that it's very individualized, which means we need a lot of data, to put together to match that individual. So lots of data, every single person's teeth, every single person's bone, every single person's biological response is different. I have little girls, their teeth just go wrong. And then I have these big football players, somehow their teeth just strips away. And I'm like, what is going on? But everyone is different. So once we have all the data, there's a point we can start, because it'll all kind of, with all the data points, all the variables, then the AI will come up to perhaps a certain recommendation as to what thickness, what kind of 4D liner, protocol, how many days to wear. And as the patient wears it, technologies from your company may learn it, about that individual's response, about their biological response, their tooth movement. And from there, it could titrate. It could individualize from there and makes it efficient, and it could go, it could adjust, based on the habits of the patient as well. I've always told my patient, if the liner fits, and it feels like you're not wearing anything, that means it's working. If you feel like it's tight, it's not working. Sometimes I give my patients, I feel like the little kid wants liners, and I'm like, oh God, I don't think this person is going to be compliant. I will give him the liner number 3 on the first day. And he put it on, he goes, oh yeah, it's tight. And I show him it fits perfect, right? Because it's still number 3. You can still squeeze it in. And then I'm like, that's number 3. You see what I mean? So you could be wearing number something, right? And it could be fitting, but it feels tight, but you're actually behind. So there's so many technological solutions, as well as communication between patient and doctor, and individualization in the future.
One more question.
Okay, Michael, just a quick one.
I've heard that before.
No, I'm just wondering because you said that you want no attachments and as much as possible, no refinement. The problem is, how do you match? Let's say you have torquing motion, complex movement, wide opening. Even if you match it on the computer, a lot of times it's not expressed in the patient. So can you explain us a little bit more the new self-printing or direct printing to improve our outcomes?
I am not going to answer that question. I'm going to let the experts in the room. I do know enough to be dangerous, but then I'm going to get in trouble. So
There are movements that we can eliminate attachments.
I know,
There are
I
two
appreciate
that
that,
we
but you
can
can't.
eliminate. There are that I know if we cannot this time.
I think between letting the tube move to a certain space, we create the space ahead, and creating thickness and certain dimples, if you want to call them, certain force points, and also understanding the force vectors better, because like our system is all about understanding force vectors and how the tube is being moved, and based on that, the algorithm will recommend for which attachment you choose. You can choose A, B, or C attachment. Place that attachment ideally on the tube. When you take that attachment, puts it on the tube, it goes to a certain spot and has a certain orientation to deliver the force. As far as eliminating attachments, I don't have much hope for that. I'll tell you right now. I think we can minimize it, we can reduce it. That I do believe.
Yeah, in Europe actually we have for every treatment we have a treatment outcome confidential level. We want the doctor to say, hey, you're trying to do this one too much and it's unlikely movement we're going to achieve. We put that, and based on the force analysis we have in the system, right? And for each system, we have to respect the Newton's law, right? Alignment is just grab your head and kind of move your body. There's certain movement is just different. We have to respect that. Sometimes we need the attachment. But for the 4D alignment, all that, because it can vary the thickness of adding wedges, dimples, whatever, to the shape, it could potentially reduce number of attachments or reduce the size of it. I haven't experienced, I haven't measured the LuxCreo aligner, but once I do, I know what needs to be put into the software.
You mind if I say one before we're done?
Yeah.
I love the data as data thing, and it's very interesting. I've really enjoyed today. There's a lot of data. Quick story, I had a realtor who's trying to sell my house. She told me that they use data. That's how they sell houses. So she would tell me every week, oh, we have 10,000 Facebook images. We have 5,000 people logged on the website. I was like, great, how many does it take to sell my house? Right? So there's data collection, and then there's using data to actually get something done. Right? We're all, I feel like, here because we're using data to get something done. Data is, and we're in the age of data. So don't just collect the data. Don't just take it in. Use it to get something done. Use it to work for you. Use it to work for your patients. Use it to work for the people.
Great. Good. Well, let's give the panel a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what's next? Great. Where'd Tony go? Tony, what are we doing next? Coffee break, everyone. Coffee break. Cue the music. Who's in charge of music? Turn the lights on a little more.
Exactly. I'm from Iowa, yes.